Something I thought about today was, do caregivers have time to care for themselves? I got my hair done a couple months ago, and the hairdresser was telling me how she had just, been going and going and going, taking care of her kid. She was a single parent, taking care of her mom, running her business. She had a salon, and she said it just was a lot of work and a lot of pressure, and making the dinners and going to the schools and then getting off of work and making sure her mom was okay. She said it was a lot of stress. But she said she didn't have time to really do anything for herself, so she was just stuck in this routine. And so she said one day one of her friends called her, and they were talking on the phone, and the friend kept saying to her, like, "Are you okay?" And she said when they were saying it, it wasn't registering, like, why are they even asking me this? Why are they asking me if I'm okay? She's like, and then she heard this sound. And she said it took her a second to even realize what the sound was. She said, and it turned out it was me, and I was crying. She said, and it had been so long since I cried, and so long that I held all the stuff in because I didn't have time to process it. I didn't have time to go, let me go have a self-care day. Let me go take the day off, because I had to work. I had to have the salon open. I had to make sure my daughter got to school. I had to make sure dinner was on the table. I had to make sure my mom was okay. She's like, I had to do all of these things. She said, because it's me, there's no one else here. And so when she was talking, like I told her, I was like, even you telling that story, like I can feel the weight of what you've gone through. And then her and I started talking about my own situation. I'm not a single parent, I'm married, but my husband has had health issues for the past almost 4 years, numerous surgeries. He just had a surgery yesterday. And it's a lot of weight when you are the person that everyone relies on, and you don't necessarily have the time to say, oh, I'm going to go away, or I'm going to go. I went to dinner at the end of the school year with a couple moms. I ended up having to leave early because my son wasn't feeling good, but one of the moms was going to Tokyo. And I was like, well, how are you going to Tokyo? And she was like, my husband's at home, he's going to watch the kids. And she was gone for 2 weeks. I'm like, how does someone get to go to Tokyo for 2 weeks and they have kids? And, obviously everyone's life is set up different. And she told me, she's like, you need to come with me to Tokyo. And her and I started laughing. But just going back to the hairdresser, going back to her story, when her and I were talking and I was explaining to her, that he had health issues the past 3 to 4 years, and that most of the things I do, although I'm married, I do it by myself, whether it be school events, whether it be dinners, whether it be extracurricular activities, all those things, people typically see me show up by myself. And so there's never a time when I can toss the ball and say, okay, well, you got it, you're going today or you're going tonight. It's me. Doing the work. Even last night I went to bed very late. I have to start work at 5 o'clock in the morning. I am tired. Like I should have been to bed. What time is it now? My watch died. I think it's like 7 o'clock right now. But as tired as I am, I should have been to bed at 5 o'clock. I don't have time to go to bed right now. I got to go back out there and clean up this kitchen. My kids are waiting for me. I got to go give them baths, all the things. And I think that sometimes, when you're going through these seasons where you are the main person, it definitely is hard. And you try to, just keep pushing and just keep pushing and keep pushing. But sometimes it's good when someone does recognize, like the hairdresser's friend said to her, are you okay? And today I was going through the drive-thru, I was picking up medication for my husband, and I've changed. Sometimes I pick up medication for my dad from this pharmacy, and sometimes I pick up medication for my husband. And so when I pulled up, she's like, oh, who you picking up for today? And I said, oh, today's for my husband. And she's like, okay, just give me a second. And so as she was getting the stuff together, she came back and she said, let me ask you something. How are you doing today? And I thought about it for a second. I was like, I'm just doing. But for the fact that she probably recognized I need to go get some self-care, that I needed to go take a moment. But I think that she recognized just the stress, the recognizing that, oh, she's here. And sometimes she's here for more than one person. She's not here for herself, but sometimes she's here for more than one person. I usually pull up in a rush because I got to go on to do the next thing. And sometimes it's good when someone just kind of slows down your pace for a moment and does a check-in and says like, well, let me ask about you. How are you doing? And I think that as moms, as sisters, as wives and all those things, that sometimes it's good to check in with other people and just ask, how are you doing? It may not change them having self-care on that day. It may not change them being able to go out and particularly do something for themselves. It may not change their situation on that day, but sometimes just asking, how are you doing, does make a big difference in someone's day. And I just wonder, have any of you ever seen or saw another mom or another friend or another sister or anyone who just seemed like they were stressed, who seemed like they were carrying a lot, and you stopped to say, how are you doing today? Because now that the pharmacist asks me how I'm doing today, I'm going to take the time to slow down and ask someone else, how are you doing today? And of course, continue to work on finding ways for myself to have self-care, for myself to have time to myself, because it's important. It's important to the body, it's important to the mind, and of course it's important that you support your spouse, that you are there for your spouse, especially when they are going through seasons of not feeling well, seasons of being down. It's important that you support them, and while you are supporting them, you also need to find time to support yourself.